Okay, and we're going to have Debbie Packard open this evening. So Debbie.
It is my pleasure. I am so excited about this meeting tonight. I'm excited to see all of your faces and be with you all. I just love these meetings. And I'm super excited to introduce our speaker too. I actually was referred to our speaker from Karen Massey. She was the first one who told me about some of the products that Dr. Nancy has developed even outside of our company. And so that was kind of my first introduction to her, but I have just so grown to appreciate everything that she does for Lifevantage. And I'm sure that if you've watched Success Mastery or the blogs that are in our back office, you have seen her and appreciated her as well. Dr. Nancy Bryan has her Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy. She also has her Doctor of Pharmacy and a Master's in Molecular Biochemistry. She is a veterinary and human medicinal and nutritional formulator. She is a certified diabetic educator, and she is also certified in geriatric counseling. She is certified in veterinary, zoo, and human compounding. She's a nutrigenomics educator, a pharmacogenomics educator. Did you like that?
Good job.
And she is on our Lifevantage Scientific Advisory Board. Everyone who's met her and knows her knows that she is kind and good. She loves to help people, and she is just such an amazing teacher. This weekend, I was around a lot of Lifevantage people, and every time Nancy's name came up, everyone's just like, oh, I love Nancy. She is just amazing. So I am right with them, and I'm so excited to introduce you tonight to Dr. Nancy Bryan. Thank you so much for coming, Nancy. I think Julie maybe has some questions for you.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much. It's always an honor for me to be able to speak to everyone, because you know what? I just am very passionate about this. So thank you all for being here, and congratulations, Steph, on getting to Pro 5 Summit. That is huge. That is a huge, huge thing, and very memorable. That's for sure.
Thank you. It is unforgettable for sure.
Yes, well, thank you, Debbie, and thank you, Dr. Bryan, for joining us tonight. You've already just given us some nuggets, and so we just have a few questions, and maybe some other ones have some questions. Feel free to, if you have a question for Dr. Nancy, feel free to type it in the chat box. But the first question we have is, why Lifevantage? What excited you most about joining Lifevantage?
Well, I think, let me just back it up just a touch. If you know my background of how I found out about this, I don't know if many of you have had a chance to hear me talk, but I was told about this from a surfer, okay? So those of you that are out there and you think you don't have enough background, or you don't know enough science, or you don't know enough information, a surfer, okay? Let that sink in. Now, he was a dear friend of mine. That's the part, right? So just to give you a quick background, grew up in Michigan, where we have 2 seasons, winter and July. Froze to death all the time. And I always was really passionate about helping people. From the time I was really young, I used to drive my parents crazy. There was a little nursing home down at the end of our block, and I used to spend a little bit of time, and it didn't matter if I was picking wildflowers. I was always finding a reason to go down there. And the reason I did, because as a kid, I remember going in there and it would make everybody happy. I can't tell you how much that just would warm my heart as a kid. And so I always knew that I was going to go into some field. I thought I was actually going to go into nursing, but I had a very helpful teacher in junior high and in high school, and they both told me that I really needed to go into chemistry, and that I had a particular gift for really seeing things that they didn't see in a lot of other people. And so I went ahead and went into pharmacy, and my favorite class of all was pharmacognosy, which was the studying of plants and their derivatives and their medicinal use. Today, pharmacy schools don't teach that. We had an entire greenhouse. It was the hardest course anyone took. But my passion was there. And so that brought me forward. My first job was working for a pharmaceutical company, believe it or not. And it was a big one, Eli Lilly and Company. In fact, I was the first female sales rep. And I was told promptly by the people that hired me that they had to hire me. Talk about having a deflation of your confidence. But they needed females. They didn't have any women. And I laugh at that today because I think most of the fields are filled with that now. But it was very valuable to me because what I did in that job, I wanted to do research for the company, but before they'd let me in that area, I worked in the sales area. And I had to learn how to dissect studies and explain them to doctors. Okay. Think about that fast forward today. All right. Here I am today. And what do we talk about with our science? This is the most evidence-based science on nutrition. And so when people ask me, what brought you to Lifevantage? I was in a very bad place health-wise. I had some terrible things go on. I had been through chemotherapy twice. I lost 7 people in my family to a really horrific form of cancer. And I had always looked at nutrients from that very beginning. I always looked at nutrients and I knew there were answers out there, but I just hadn't found them yet. And so when the surfer brought this to me and I saw what they had, the real reason for me for Lifevantage was the fact that for the first time, I saw reasonably being able to make a nutrient product with plants predictable. That's what separated out pharmaceuticals in the 50s and 60s from us utilizing so many nutrients, is that it's hard to make when you're growing plants in the Himalayas and the different places we get our raw ingredients. To have that product be predictable and be able to duplicate it over and over again really is difficult. And today, because of technology, this company does that. And for me, once I knew that and I knew what it did, I had a moral obligation to be able to help, because everybody's so steeped in the science of chemicals. And I knew that I could have a special place to be able to help others that are in the medical field to understand it. And I can help so many more people throughout the world doing this versus what I had been doing. And so I try to encourage all of you, don't be afraid to share this. Don't be afraid that you don't know the science. You don't have to know the science. Let us do that for you through videos and through Zooms and all that sort of thing. What you want to do is help them understand this is that different. It's the predictability that allowed the FDA to tell us we could say we reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days on average in mammals, in people, over and over, because our products are predictable. We know exactly what we are looking at when we put that together. And when we go out and ascertain all of our ingredients, we do chromatography. We know the sweet spot and we give them back a good portion of what they want to sell us. And they sell it to other people. Okay, we want the sweet spot and we know we can make that predictable. And so for me personally, my why was really, truly my passion for making a difference for people and being able to do it with nutrients for the first time on a predictable scale and being able to have that happen over and over for so many people.
That's awesome. I love that story. That's great. Do you have anything in particular that you would like to share with us about any of the products? We talked a little bit, about a couple of things beforehand, but is there anything on your heart or something
well, one of the things I want to bring up, and this is kind of a continuation of the why, because when I first started, being in the medical field, I was not all about being in a network marketing company. I'll be honest. I grew up in the backyard of Amway. All right. So I wasn't afraid of it. I knew I have several people that were in that area. I was working at the time doing formulating for a company that is a direct sales kind of company. So it wasn't so much that, but for me personally, one of the things that I like to take a look at when I talk about this is I had been taking the product for a little while, had incredible results. I just can't tell you the difference. Enough that when other people see me from back then, they just look at me and go, I'll have what you're having. They don't even care what it is. Okay. It's that significant. But for me personally, I had this really dear friend who had not one, but two children with autism. Severe. I mean, their daughter was at this point in time 20 and still didn't speak. And we had always worked with her with different combinations of things, trying to keep her off a lot of medications. And I don't know what it was, but something just spoke to me in my head. And it was like, call Arlene one day. And when I called her, she shared with me that she was out in the backyard yelling at God to help her do something. And she said, and you called. So I don't know what you're calling me for, she said, but come over here. Well, what had happened is her daughter, they had to put on a few medications to keep her in the school she was at. And she was tearing her hair out and hurting herself because she could not tell them it had made her stomach completely raw on the inside. And she was in so much pain, she couldn't tell them. And so they didn't know that. But when I got there and took a look at what was going on, I was mortified. Well, I don't know why, but when I walked out the door, I had taken some Axio and some NRF2 with me because for some reason that just came to me to do that. And I will tell you that in 4 days' time, the straitjacket and the helmet came off. All right. And we were able to get her off that medication that typically takes 6 to 8 weeks to wean off. We got her off in a record amount of time so she could feel better. From that point on, I can't tell you all the things that have happened with her, but she went from a person that could not communicate anything. She couldn't do anything for herself, couldn't bathe herself, couldn't feed herself, none of those things. And today, if you saw the pictures of her and you see their family, she's helping her mom grow an organic garden. She makes her own meals. She can bathe herself. I mean, these are things, I know we always say we can't treat, mitigate, or cure, but I can tell you that when the body optimizes itself and the signaling occurs, amazing things happen. And that changed their whole entire family. And that's when I really knew that I had that obligation to share this. And that's why what I try to tell with people is, you don't know what other people are going through. Just share from your heart. Because the bottom line is, it's going to make a tremendous amount of difference to not just that person, but to many people from that person. And so I wanted to be able to share that because truly, we've gone on now and done so much. And I know you've heard Dr. Brett Brimhall's stories. I know you've heard some of the other autism stories, but the communication in the brain from the Axio, just giving the brain what it needs, is incredible. And it really has a huge, huge impact. And so again, that's where for me, I feel very compelled to be able to help other people learn how to say things and help them share this. Because honestly, it's not only that, but Arlene never could have a job. She had 2 autism kids, right? And her son, who's not as severe, he has Asperger's, he always wanted to work at Lowe's Hardware in the garden department. Today, he's the manager of that department. Before, if you had Garrett on here, he'd tell you he couldn't even complete an application. Today, he's managing the department. And those are things that really have huge impact for people. And so I just wanted to be able to share that from my heart, because that truly is what we are all here for, is this community. That's a huge part of what we do. And now Arlene she's almost a Pro 5. And when you think about, this is a person that couldn't have a job, and it's made a huge impact on their family, not only with all of the wellness, but also giving her lots of options and her her daughter is able to go to some advanced schools and things now because they can afford to do that. So I think that that's some of the things we get sometimes stuck about the product, and it's easy to do that with the evidence-based science we have and what we have being so important. But we forget that that business side of things is really important to share. It may or may not be for other people, but make sure that they know it is there, because you never know who they want to share with. Okay.
Wow, that's an incredible story, Dr. Nancy. I love that. That's just amazing and so true. What you're saying about, just sharing everything with people. And that's incredible that, you were able to help her, with the health and the financial part. That's awesome. Thank you. Does anyone else have a question tonight, or is there anything else on your heart, Dr. Nancy, that you'd like to share with us? I think we could listen to you for a long time, but we also want to honor your time. I'm not sure how
No,
much
I'm
time.
good with time. I'm good with that. But maybe there might be some questions that people ask. And if they don't have any, there's a couple of things I can fill in on.
Okay. Anybody have a question tonight?
Yeah, Dr. Nancy, Mark, and Krista here in Kansas City. I think where we are, especially in the season of health challenges that we've been in for the last year and a half, I think most of us are becoming even more passionate about what we have our hands on now that we know how the effectiveness of nutrigenomics and how that's coming to bear on the current health challenges. Can you give us some handles on, so one of the things I've started to gravitate around is trying to communicate the age-related accumulation of oxidative stress, especially how that impacts what we're looking at now. Do you have any keywords or phrases that you use to help communicate that concept and the implications of that?
Well, you'll laugh at me, but it kind of goes back to some of our early discussions that we had when we talked about the rusting of an engine. You know what? I try to help people to understand, one of the reason we have so much of the science was because when we first came out, we were claiming to be an anti-aging company, correct? And really what I try to help people understand is anti-aging is simply the lack of those disease states, right? And to your point, when in our early 20s and into our 30s, we can bounce back and handle so much. And on a side note, I will tell you that I think as each generation is coming, that is becoming less and less of a case as well, because there's so much that is adding to our bodies that the oxidative stress is overwhelming us earlier and earlier. And I see that as a pharmacist. You see earlier and earlier how many young people are on a number of prescriptions. And so if you understand the cell, and in my mind, for me, the reason I always had such a hard time and finally I had to leave pharmacy was because I knew it wasn't balancing the chemistry. And if you think about what we do, we're helping our cells to rebalance themselves the way they're supposed to. And so when you want words, I think some of the best words we have is being proactive in helping our cells maintain their optimum function. Okay? Because that's ultimately, we're a fine-tuned machine, and it starts at the cell level. And so when you have this oxidative stress, the yin and the yang of that cell is, as the stress builds up, our mitochondria are beat up so bad. Go look in PubMed.gov how many disease states are related to mitochondrial disease and dysfunction. Many. And it's simply because the cell can't function. When the cell is no longer functioning the way it is, the chemistry starts getting imbalanced, and then all kinds of other things have to start happening. That's why you get, high blood pressure, because the muscle of the cell walls and the blood vessels aren't functioning, or the heart is not pushing as much fluid as it should, or we build up cholesterol because we have less hormones and we have more holes breaking through in our blood vessels. All those things start creating these issues. And so if we can get our bodies back to that point where that at the cell level, we're having a balance because we're helping to remove so much of that oxidative stress that's building up and creating that mitochondrial damage. That NRF1 is so important for mitochondrial biogenesis. Making new mitochondria is key. Those are the things why you go to the gym. You work out your muscles and all that kind of thing. That's to build up. That's another way to get mitochondria, right? But we can help it by adding to the activation of that NRF1 and building up our mitochondria, not just in numbers, but also helping it repair. And when you help that mitochondria, the cell is now going to function better. And then when you take a look at NAD being added in there, this is how we're getting our cell signaling. And if the cell is optimally functioning, it's going to be able to signal the next cell, which extends to the function of the organs, which it goes to the systems. And that ultimately brings us back in years. And that's why they say our blood looks like that of a 20-year-old, an 80-year-old down to a 20-year-old, simply because those cells are functioning at an optimum level. So I hope that helps.
Good, thank you.
Okay. I'll tell you a question I get a lot. I get a lot of times people saying to me, Nancy, how do you explain to people, yes, our NRF1 and our NRF2 are so important, and they'll get the concept that those two activators are something different. But how do you get them to understand the value of things like our probiotics and our omegas? Well, I just buy that at Costco, or I can get that at the grocery store, or whatever they're doing. And what I try to help people to understand is if we've taken the time to formulate it and make it, it's because we know what's out there isn't getting it done. When you take a look at that cell communication we're talking about, once that cell is operating optimally, one of the things we want to do is protect it. That's what the omegas do. The omegas are like a shield around it, and they also help with the signaling process, if you will. Just like wires through your house, they aren't exposed wires, they're coated. They're coated with a plastic or rubber, right? When you have wires in your house, so that charge is going where you want it to go. And that's how our omegas work. And most omegas come from farmed fish. Well, just think about this for a minute. Farmed fish are fed corn. I don't know about you, but most fish I know that are in the wild aren't eating corn, all right? They're eating the kelp and the seaweed and all the stuff at the bottom of the ocean. And whatever the components are that they're eating, that's going in and making up what they are. That's their value to us when we take it. And so when you're getting farmed fish, you're not getting that component of the nutrients. And we have so much processed food today, our omega-6 ratio to our omega-3 is way out of whack. You need a ratio of 1-to-1 as close as you can of omega-3 to omega-6. And omega-6s are all the processed foods. How many things do you see? You turn every label over and it's got some kind of seed oil in it, right? Mm-hmm. Those are all omega-6s. And it's good to have them. We need to have them. But the problem is omega-6s heighten inflammation. Omega-3s bring it down. So it's the yin and the yang, again, the balance of those two that we want to get closer. The average American diet's 30-to-1 with omega-6s. We want to get that much closer to 1-to-1. And so that's why I always talk about our omegas, why they are so specifically wonderful, because they are very clean and they are going to optimize that true omega-3. All right. It's not just a label, because when the other companies put that on their bottles, they don't even know that. They don't test it. They don't understand the deep chemistry I just explained to you. And then as far as what goes on with our gut, for most of you, if you don't know this, I had the wonderful opportunity. My husband also was with Lily, and we lived in Brussels. So I had, in the 80s, the opportunity to see a whole different world. There, I learned all about probiotics and our gut. I came back to the United States and no one knew what I was talking about. And I learned so much, and we continue to learn. And we're so advanced right now with what we have. I know you know and understand our own probiotics are what's so valuable. That's what carries processes, and that's what keeps our diabetes in control. All the different processes. When people have insulin insensitivity, it's because there's a bunch of enzymes not happening because our probiotics aren't doing their job. So we give them prebiotics to feed them, right? But a new concept that you're going to be hearing more and more and more about is what's in our daily wellness. Take some time and check out what a postbiotic is. And basically what it is when we use something that's within our daily wellness, the yeast component that's in there, what it does is it helps the probiotics to actually, I don't know, this is kind of gross, but it literally secretes or poops out mucus. All right. That's what it helps it do. Well, that is so valuable. You know how you hear about leaky gut? Well, guess why? It's because that whole mucus lining is not proper. And if it's not proper, all kinds of things leak through that shouldn't. And more importantly, all of our nutrients aren't being carried across properly. So we did not develop daily wellness because everybody on the block said, hey, you need DC and all these kinds of things. That's a concept I've been working with and doing for 40 some years. And the whole prospect of trying to help people take which one, I got tired of answering, to be honest. And I kind of threatened the company. I said, look, if you don't make this, I didn't know what I was going to do. They had to make it. And the reason we put that thing together is to simplify it. Every time you grab another bottle off a shelf, so you have vitamin D by itself, you have zinc by itself, you have vitamin C by itself. Each one of those components, when it's inside a capsule that you're buying somewhere, 80% of it's excipients and other stuff. It's filler. So every time you're adding those capsules and extra bottles, you're grabbing lots of extra things. First and foremost, we don't do that. And I'm so grateful. Our Pro Tandem NRF2, it barely has anything else in there. It literally is squeezed together. There's not much else holding it together. Stick it in a glass of water, you'll see that. It just immediately goes into solution. The same with our capsules. We use very little amounts of things to put in there. It's raw ingredients in there. But many other companies, that's not how they operate. And so when you're adding all those things in, they're just adding more trash than they're helping. By putting it all together, it works almost like a recipe together, and your body's going to take it in like a food source. And so when people talk to me about what are the two most important things, if I can only afford one or two things, I start with NRF2, always, flagship product. I mean, there is nothing that can help us more than that. But the daily wellness is number two. And I think that surprises a lot of people. And the main reason, and it took Brian Dixon a little while when he heard me say that, but if you talk to him today, he'll tell you the same thing. And if you talk to Sveta, Dr. Sveta, she'll tell you the same thing. That product is so valuable because it provides all of those different components that operate our immune system. And you know what? We're not trying to operate the immune system. We're trying to optimize our health. Optimizing your health is your immune system. Okay? That's how it works. And those small components that are there, all you have to do is stick a scoop of it in with your prebiotic and your Axio. And all those lists that you see from all these doctors and everybody telling you to take whatever you need to take, all those check boxes are done. Between our NRF1 with quercetin and our Axio, and another thing too, taking massive amounts of vitamin C. If you've heard me in the past, I always tell people, do not take massive amounts of vitamin C. That makes your immune system lose its mind. If you're getting a cold or you're feeling bad that day or 2 or 3, yes, go take a bunch. But don't take it every day, high doses all the time. And if you start looking and having your friends take a look at what they've got piled in front of them all the time, I was with a friend yesterday. He asked me to come over and he had 18 bottles. I think 12 of them had vitamin C in it. Okay. All of that adds up. and it makes your immune system mad. All right. We want a tiny amount every day that we need to optimize our body. And so when we put that product together, we have the proper kind of D, we have the proper kind of zinc. If you don't have enough kind of zinc, you need 140 times more vitamin D. And then when you add to that, taking the elderberry and having your all three components of your immune system, the barrier, which is that mucus lining, picture things coming in the air and getting stuck in that, in your nose and your eyes and down your throat. That mucus grabs it. Well, the next thing that has to happen is it has to signal your immune system. That's where zinc and vitamin C come in. They're part of that signaling process. And then they go tell D, and D is what is, it works kind of like a hormone, not like just an essential vitamin. And it helps to take and bind things to a foreign body so that your body sees it, grabs it, gets rid of it. Those are the components of our immune system that all have to operate daily. That's what we put that product together for. And as a result of it, all of our other products that we're taking and our foods, let's face it, our body wants food first, right? That's what we should have, is good nutrients. When you have that postbiotic working, you're now utilizing your own nutrients. And many people that have been on some of our other products for a while and then get started and really take daily wellness daily, they see an impact from how they feel based on the nutrients, not just in our products, but their foods that they're utilizing. And so I really want people to understand that if we're making products, it's not because it's the latest and greatest thing and we're trying to do it that way. It's because it's not available the way we make it and what we have to optimize. And that daily wellness, there is no product currently on the market that addresses all three portions of our immune system. That barrier process, our innate process, which is our own genetic makeup of how we fight things, it enhances that. And it also enhances our adaptive, how we're going to adapt to new things, new viruses, new flus, all those kinds of things. And there's no other product that I'm aware of that addresses all three components like that. And that's why it's so valuable. And so I hope that gives you a better idea of why we do what we do. And then the quality that goes into it is just unprecedented. You know, that's really why I can sit here with all the licenses I have and why I have umpteen gazillion pharmacy schools calling me to teach nutrigenomics, because they don't have greenhouses anymore and they don't have that beginning basis that I had. And now they want people that are graduated from pharmacy to come back and get higher degrees to get something I got right from the start. So it's kind of funny. It's coming back. Everything's a cycle, right? So I hope that gives you a better understanding of why we have what we have and how it is so helpful in our bodies in terms of getting back to having so much less oxidative stress and then being able to get the nutrients into the body.
Awesome. We're so thankful. So thankful that you're part of our Lifevantage family and all your knowledge and experience. We appreciate it so much. And we're so thankful for Lifevantage and all the ways that they're helping all of us and our friends and those we love and care for. I see people in the chat box saying that they could listen to you all day, and it's phenomenal content. So thank you, Dr. Brian. We so appreciate you. Anybody else have a comment or something they want to say before we let Dr. Nancy go this evening?
Yes, I want to thank you for all your wisdom and knowledge. And I'm in awe of what we have available to help others. And you make something so complex, sounds so simple. So I want to thank you for that. But I also want to tell you, as I've watched you over the years, you just keep looking younger and younger.
Yes. It's true. It's true. Now you'll laugh. Over the weekend, you know what? My life has been a little crazy right now. It's crazy for all of us, right? But my groups are growing. I don't know if you all saw the shipping thing on your website. You may or may not know what that is or think it pertains to you. I actually did that. It's a really good friend of mine. For 3 years, it took me to talk the company into getting this done. And the main reason is because, you know what? Reach out to people you know. They're going to know people in places we're not open as a business, okay? And the problem I had was some of my old high school friends had seen me on something. I know what it was. Don't laugh about this, but right before my high school reunion, something happened, and I had done an infomercial for this other company that I had formulated. So this is like 10 years ago. Well, I had done an infomercial, and for some reason that infomercial started playing again. And I don't know what that company's got going on right now, but it played the week of our high school reunion. So I go back to Michigan. I don't know that's happening. And then the people see me from having been in that infomercial 10 years ago. And now they're seeing me now, right? And they're like, I'm not kidding you. They were like, look, I don't know what you're doing. We're all getting old and you're not, and you're better and stronger and healthier. So tell us what you're doing. So fast forward, I end up growing this big group now in Michigan because they've all come on board. One of them introduced me to a person that went down to Curacao. I don't know if any of you know where that is. It's an island 50 miles off the coast of Venezuela. I didn't know where it was. At any rate, I went down there last February for a couple of reasons. I do a lot of work with dolphins and penguins and that kind of thing, because they get a lot of things that they don't normally get. And a lot of people didn't know how to help them. And somehow there's some things that happen so that I do. So I went down there to do that. But as a result of it, I end up meeting all these people. They all decide they need to be on our products, but I couldn't get them there. And I was getting so frustrated because I knew about this shipping thing. And I finally went back to the company and said, look, if you don't do this, I'm not going to be on the board anymore. I kind of hijacked them. But the bottom line is, guess what? We can get our products now. So say you have friends in Canada. Up until the shipping program, there were only certain things available to them. Now they can get our entire product line for personal use. They can't resell it, but they can get it now for personal use by utilizing that shipping program. And so the reason I bring that up is because there's so many people that you know that will know somebody somewhere. And you know what? We just don't think to act on it. We don't think to talk about it. But believe me, if people here need this stuff, you have no idea how much more they need it in other places. Okay? So keep that in mind. And I thank you for your compliments. Thank you so much. I can tell you that today I am, you know what? This is living proof. You know, it's proof when you go into your oncologist, because I have to go see him every 6 months. When you go in there and they call you before your visit and say, you got to go get your blood work done again because they messed up your blood. Yeah, that happened. So I had to go back in and give more blood. And I'm thinking, what? I'm feeling so good and so strong and doing great. What the heck happened? When I got in to the office the next day, the oncologist came and he sat on the table. You know, I'm like in the paper thing and I'm like, really? And he took my hand in his hand and he goes, we have to talk. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And then he had his little laptop there and he starts showing me all my blood work. And he's like, help me with this. And I said, well, I told you I'm taking this little yellow pill. And he's like, I've never seen anything like this. And most importantly, I've had rheumatoid arthritis since I was 28. And rheumatoid factor wasn't present in my blood. And he said, that doesn't disappear. Wow. What I didn't know was his wife had severe rheumatoid arthritis. And so from that point on, he's had his patients, his wife, everybody utilizing these products because he saw firsthand the value of it. And the only question I had for him that day was, am I paying for this appointment? Because we spent a lot of time me telling you stuff. But the bottom line is, you know what? That has continued. And then I didn't have to go every 6 months anymore. Now I only have to go once a year. And you know what? Nothing replaces that. Nothing, you know what? Yes, we all want to look younger, but you know what? Who cares how old we are if we can't function and enjoy what we're doing? And that truly is about, and is this perfect? No. What I tell people is you're still going to get sick. You're still going to have things happen, but your body's going to be optimized to do the best it can with what you've given it. And you've been proactively taking care of it. And I think that that's the beauty of what we have. Okay.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, you certainly are a blessing, and we so appreciate you sharing all these great things with us tonight. So encouraging, so inspiring, and motivating to reach out and be more proactive in reaching out and sharing with others. So thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
Thank you all. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. And I hope I get to see some of you at Salt Lake in a couple of weeks. It's not going to be too much longer, right? And I'm really so looking forward to it. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Brian.
All right. You all have a good evening. I've got a little grandson here looking at me saying, is it time for sleep, Nani?
Oh, that's the best.
Oh, you guys have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, our evening isn't over yet. We still have a couple more things on our agenda tonight, and we're very excited to hear from the Packers because they're just back from the Pro 5 Summit. And congratulations, Debbie. We're going to turn a little time over to you.
Oh, heavens. We had an amazing time. John's here too. He's over there. I'll send him over here in a minute. My goodness, you all have to go. If you have not yet, you've got to go to a Pro 5 Summit. And I have 4 people in this room here that are going to go. I'm just determined. We're all determined. We're going to get them there. There was a group there from Hawaii of 8 people in one team who all came together to this Pro 5 Summit. And I really would like to repeat that only with my team. I know if you've ever been, it's hard to think about what you're going to say to communicate what it was like to be there. We were so, I was writing down this morning a little bit about how I felt, this weekend, what it was like. And I feel seen and valued and supported by this company and the people in it. It was just, it was really a remarkable time. There was like 120 people that were all actually qualified to go to this event, but 35 distributors and some spouses showed up. So we had just an amazing smallish group that was very intimate. We all just had the time to really get to know each other and get to know, Steve Fife was there all weekend. Brian Dixon was there all weekend. Bobby and April Wagner were there all weekend. Cherise Matthews was a rock star because she also did an LVA. When she wasn't teaching LVA, she was with us. And then she'd run back from LVA and train us some more. It was just amazing to see the investment that she made. Marcel Niederhauser was there to train us. We got to go to the corporate office and see the entire, as much as they could gather. They all work from home still for the most part, but the many of the corporate staff came to the headquarters to be there with us. And it was just an amazing thing to see the support we have and to hear them just say, we do this for you, and to have us say, we couldn't do this without you, and to realize just the connection there of the company and the distributors together. One thing that Marcel said that rang true for me, that was what I needed to hear. And I know that all of us can go to these things and it's just, something's going to resonate with one and something's going to resonate with another. And John and I went to that Pro 5 Summit. Just we've been at we've been kind of holding steady for a long time in terms of just our volume and the strength of our team. And whether I meant to or not, I think I've just kind of been waiting for this event, feeling like this is where I'm going to get what I need to go forward. And I've just been holding on to hope upon hope that they would actually be able to carry this event off. I was really trying to hold it loosely, but really hoping it would happen. And so it was a really marvelous fulfillment for me to be able to be there. But Marcel said, how did you get to Pro 5? You know how you got here. What did you have to do to reach Pro 5? So what do you have to do to move forward, to reach your next goal? For many of us, the common theme was Pro 7's next. Not one person said, I want to reach Pro 6. It was like the next goal is Pro 7. And so I just it put it into language that I could understand. If I did this to reach Pro 5, what do I have to do to reach Pro 7? And John and I are already talking about mapping that out, talking about what we're going to have to do and when we have to do it in order to be able to reach that goal. And the strength of our company is amazing. The strength of the people in our company is amazing. We're all really excited about seeing each other again in 3 weeks. We feel like they called us the Pro 5 class of 2021. And we're the only Pro 5 summit in 2021. And so it gave us a little bit of a unique heritage. And I think as a group, we'll be moving forward together and really looking forward to the times that we can connect again. So I don't know, I just am grateful to the company for the way that they enrich us and pour back into us and provide us with so many fun opportunities. So one more thing, one little fun highlight, because we were a small group, we all went to the RSL game Saturday night. And they told us we had supper at the venue at the arena. And then Justin Rose came out and he said, okay, well, Steve and I tonight, we're going to be sitting in the suite, in the Lifevantage suite, but you all have seats and we'll look forward to seeing you after the game. Well, then the game just hadn't even gotten started yet. And one of the account managers came up and said, hey, we've got a small enough group. We can take you in groups of 12 to go sit in the suite for 30 minutes each. And so they took us in groups and marched us around the end of the arena and brought us into the Lifevantage suite with the corporates and just let us be there in that environment to watch the game or not. I was watching the game. I love soccer and it was really a thrill for me. And so then we're sitting in the suite and I look over in the next box and Fry is sitting in the box right next to us, which was kind of fun. He hadn't been around for the summit, but he was there for the game. So it's just a fun environment down there. And I would go back in a heartbeat. So we're looking forward to going back for John's Pro 5 Summit and for all of y'all, if you want to come, we can all do this together. And so do you have something? John has something he wants to say too.
Yeah, it was really a wonderful time, as Debbie said. And, as we were going to the summit, we said, well, now we've got to figure out where we're going to be and when we want to be there. And so, like she said, Pro 7 is our next goal for her. And we decided we want to be there by the end of next year. So we don't mind declaring that because that's what we decided. So by the end of 2022, we are expecting to be at Pro 7. And there was one couple that we met there. Their names are April and Adam. And they were at Pro 5 Summit for the second time. And it was because he made Pro 5, she did before he did. And I'm like, that sounds kind of like our family.
I was there when they went the first time.
Oh, you were?
Oh,
how
wow.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love those two.
They're a neat couple from Georgia. And yeah, they did mention you and they get to do some stuff with you. But anyway, so I'm excited. My goal is Pro 5 by the end of next year. So now you know our goals and you can hold us to them. And we hope you will. So I want to tell just a couple of things. First of all, Marcel Niederheiser, because for a lot of us, he's in our upline. And, you know, I had heard some of these things from Marcel before, but they just really sunk in a few things. You know, go get 5 people. And what do you do when you get those 5? Go get 5 more. And he was like, you know, you need to go do your meetings and then do the follow-up. And it just, you know, it made so much sense listening to him talk again. And then I just loved hearing all the stories of all the people. And on, let's see, it would have been Friday night, we went on a tram up to the top of the mountain, and there was this beautiful restaurant with a beautiful view, and they fed us wonderful food, and we got to hear some more testimonies. We got to share ours the first night, but the second night, there were just testimony after testimony that just touched my heart so deeply. The whole Hawaii group spoke that night. And so I just want to say, like I said to them, I love all of you who are on this call. I love hearing the stories of how Lifevantage has changed lives with all of us. And, you know, it just becomes ingrained in you, and then you have to share. You can't not share. So I love our company. I love the corporate staff, and I love doing what we do. So thank you.
Well, you guys are awesome. We're just so thrilled that you were at the Pro 5 Summit, and we're excited to see you advance to Pro 7, and we declare it with you. Pro 7 by the end of next year. So that's awesome. You guys are awesome leaders. We appreciate you so much. So we could listen to more and more. I'm sure you guys have. It's been such a rich time there at the Pro 5 Summit. I apologize for how long this call is this evening. I didn't realize that Dr. Nancy was going to be with us for so long, but I promised Renee Parker, sweet Renee, that she could have 5 minutes to just share something that she's mapped out for the new trip that we can all work towards. So Renee?
Y'all got time for
It's
5 more
yours.
minutes?
What'd you say?
Y'all have time for 5 more minutes? Okay, if you got the email that came today, it starts out with the y'all can't see that, with the spice plum. And then if you scroll on down, earn incentive trip points. It's kind of a cheat sheet, but it talks about 4 ways that we have to earn. I'm going to break that down into actually for 5 for us. And this is just kind of a way to look how I'm at Pro 0, and you're talking 250 points in Pro 4, and we can do it. It can be done, and you can make it all wrap around. So let me share screen with you guys. Have you got where I can, Julie? Can I share screen?
Yes.
It'll be a lot faster if I can share a screen. And first of all, I have to go back and find it. There we go. And then I can share. Let me get back to you guys.
We don't know. They'll tell us at Global.
Let me see if this is what I want to share. All right. All right, can y'all see that? Woo, that's big. Oh, look at that beautiful place. I don't know. Why did I pick that? Incentive trip breakdown. Yes, I've been doing some cheating. How to get there from here in 9 months. Here we go. Y'all ready for this? All right, so we know the requirements. They are 250 points. That enough has some people just sitting down. Like, I have no idea what that means, but I can't do it. Stay with me. You also have to be a qualified Pro 4, and we know that means 10,000 PV, right? Oh, I'm at Pro 0. How do I do that? All right, let's kind of break it down, and I'm glad this is kind of being recorded so I can go a little faster. So the number 1, purchases, and I'm taking this kind of from here. Can y'all see me? Because I can't see y'all. Y'all can see me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, don't lose anybody. All right, so purchases made by your new customers or distributors, you get 1 trip point for every 100 plus PV sale. And as I currently understand it, if somebody knows better than me, correct me if I'm wrong, you have to make 100 PV sale. So a 40 PV and a 40 PV and a 50, they don't accumulate. It is 100 PV sales. If that's different, I'll know soon. So let's take advantage of the Smart Start bonus pool, y'all. Let's just doing that, and you'll agree with me if you've ever hit this pool, that reaching the Smart Start bonus pool is a muscle. It's just doing it, and the more you do it, the easier it actually becomes. So I'm going to use that as a base. The Smart Start bonus pool is 500 PV. That's 5 trip points, right? And if we do that every month, let me go the other way, we're going to get a total of 45 points total if we do this every month. Now, I would recommend we go ahead and start in September to kind of get a running feel for what it's going to be like. And then for every month, October through June, 45 points total that we've now accumulated for that 250, right? Towards that 250. And then 1B, rinse and repeat. So the second month that person orders from you, we have an onboarding program on my team where we talk to new customers once a week for their first month. So their repeat order the next month is just kind of a given. You know, hey, your order's going to ship on the 5th. We earn 2 trip points for every 100 to 199 PV placed for their second month. We earned 1 for the first month, 2 for the second, and there's others. There's for less than 100 and more than 200. I'm sticking right here for now. So those guys that ordered 500 PV for the first time in October, they order again in November, and instead of getting 5, you get 10 for those guys. And remember, you've got 5 new ones coming on board, right? So 80 points is your possible total for your what we call the second month order, because that begins in November, and your guys that start for the first time in June don't get it. 80 points. It's 80 points. So this is part 2, and this is sort of a breakaway from that 500. In addition to that 500 PV, enroll an Elite Pack distributor. You have to get away from thinking, oh, that person's 850 PV, I'm already in the pool. Kind of separate it out just for this. Can you enroll 1 Elite Pack distributor per month? Just 1. Because each time you do that, that's 5 trip points. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Then we help them place that second month order. And because they're ordering over 200 PV on average, you get 3 points for their repeat order. So what are we looking at total? So if you enroll 1 Elite Pack distributor a month, beginning in October through June, you can do more. You can do more. This is just basics, right? 45 points if you do that once a month. Help those guys with their second month order, and that's 24 more points. I get to the total.
Renee, are you supposed to be sharing your screen? Because we see.
Am I not sharing it?
I see you.
I see her screen.
I see your screen.
Sorry, maybe Mark did something fishy.
Can y'all see 45 points and 24 points?
You can try unpinning her, Krista.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, we
I'm gonna
see
keep rolling. Y'all figure it out. All right, so number 3, and this is kind of new for us to think about. This is not PV. This is not volume. This is people. This is the number of people in your world. You say to me, I got no people. You're in a beautiful place, my friend. Beautiful place. So they're going to take an average of our total June, July, and August personal customers and personal distributors as a number of people, not product volume. So let's say there's 10. Let's do this. Let's say there's 0. Let's say you're a brand new person, or you've never enrolled a single person in your whole time in Lifevantage. You're sitting at 0. The month of October, if you increase that total by 1, you get a point towards the trip. What? That's right. So any month that you increase your total number from that base of customers and distributors, total folks, they're going to give you a point. And get this, let me see if I can roll it. So you have a potential there of 9 points, right? You can increase a little bit by one person and keep it going, right? Every month, just increase over that base. Just one. And you're gonna get a point for this trip to a beautiful site. And then you can, this is still part of number 3, they're calling it beat your best. Again, this is not volume, this is people. So beginning in November, so you've got that thing going on in October, beginning in November, you beat your last best month. So June, July, and August, they total that up to figure our base. Beginning in October, we increase that base. Any month that you beat your last best month. So if you're hitting the bonus pool every single month, you're doing this. It's just automatic. This is just icing on top of a cake because you're beating your best. You're increasing your business every single month. So beginning in November, you beat your last best month's numbers of customers and distributors just by one, right? You beat it. You're going to earn 5 trip points just for doing that. And let's say you're going along and you're going up and up and up. And then one month you don't beat your best, but it's still better than where you started. You still get 1 point, right? But we're going to go with working this, using that bonus pool as our base. And every single month you do that, you automatically earn these points. It just comes. So the total for the beat your best potentially is 40 points. So for this number 3, you can earn a total of 49 points. So let's move on. Events. How easy is this? Non-negotiable. We have 6 Lifevantage academies. I wasn't even sure if that was right. Academies. 1 global convention and 2 elite academies between now and the time that we leave, that we get on the plane to go, right? So that's 13 points. We know events are non-negotiable. So let's add all of that up. So we have a potential of earning 250 points by doing these things. Now, you're welcome to do more. And there's actually some cheat sheets, some cheat things that we can do in September. But I did all of the PV, all of the repeats, all of this. I added all of the new volume up. And what's going to happen if you follow this and simply do that 500 new PV every single month and 1 new elite pack distributor every month, beginning in October, what's your volume going to look like in June? You're going to increase your volume by 11,250. And that's volume. That's not trip points. That's an additional Pro 4 worth of volume coming through. And guess what? Some of those happy customers, some of those 5 that you're enrolling as customers, they are going to grow and want to become business partners. They can turn around and become that distributor, that elite pack distributor in one of those months. So we're just compounding what we're doing. Guys, I could not be more excited about this. And I hope that didn't just like wow you out too far, that you were able to kind of understand what we're doing. But the September cheats, y'all, in September, all of the numbers, so instead of 1 point, 1 trip point for every 100 PV, we earn 3. If you enroll a Premier Pack person, you instead of it's 200 or 250 PV, instead of 3 points for that, and I didn't go into that a whole lot, you get 6 points. And if you enroll an elite pack distributor, and we have a new one on our team this week, that enroller earned 15 points towards this promotion, and it hasn't even started yet. Also in the month of September, when you sell to your newly enrolled or your existing customer and distributor base, your personal line. If you sell one of the activation energy stacks, so that's a bag of Protandim, a bottle of Protandim and a bag of Axio in a stack, it's only 85 points. It's not even 100 points. You're still going to get 1 trip point. And for every, is it $29? But how much is our plum? How much is that? $29.99, 25 PV. It's not even $30 for every one of those that you sell to a new customer, new distributor, or someone who is in your front line already. You earn a trip point. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have been looking over in my back office, all of my, every name in red. Red for Christmas, red for, for this plum, and building that and getting back and saying, hey, just thought you might want to know. Because guys, how many of us could sell 100 bags knowing you got 100 points this month? Oh, and if you sell 1 bag of the plum, the spice plum, and we sell out by the end of this month, no matter what else you've done, if you've sold 1 bag and we sell out in the month of September, we had 20,000 bags total, I think. You're going to get 10 trip points just on top of it all, just more icing on top of that cake to just make sure that when you're on that plane flying to a beautiful place, we have to fly. It's not in Canada. It's not in Mexico. We have to fly. Go ahead and get your passport now. And y'all can sit, whoever you want can sit right next to me on the plane there. All right, that's how we do it.
Wow, Renee, thank you so much.
Is your head blown? Like,
I'm going to have to listen to that recording. That was a lot of information for sure, but we appreciate all that effort.
That was amazing.
I've been on an incentive trip and I saw the number of points, and then I saw these points and I was like, that's a lot more points.
Hey, Renee, can you put those slides up like on Team Lifetree or something? Because
I sure can.
you're good at that. That helped me a lot to understand what was the potential there. So
Right, and that's the idea. Is it's not to like try to get your head around the math so much as the do. If we do these things, if we hit the bonus pool plus 1 elite pack distributor per month.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, amazing. And that's how we got to Pro 7, everybody. We did 1 elite distributor or 1 distributor a month.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to Pro 7.
Yeah, and if you can't do an elite, do 2 of the
That's
premier
right.
pack premier distributors.
Yeah.
But don't let that count as part of your 500. We want that to count. Make that separate. I say that you can still do it by not, but you're not going to hit Pro 4.
Right.
You're not going to get enough volume. And trust me, I've been playing with this math for 3 days.
Well. Yeah.
So, because I'm going.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Renee. I think we should have devoted a whole evening to this.
We'll do it
was
again.
a little longer than 5 minutes, but it was all great.
Yeah, let's do it again, Julie.
Tried to stay
Okay, yeah, maybe we could go over this again next time.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I'm going to say good night, and we love you all. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing and just being who you are. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. So God bless. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.